Hello everybody, welcome back to another draft analysis on this channel. I know I just chucked one up, but we've got another league starting up around the same time as the MBBL. So this is my SDA, Soldier Association draft analysis. Um, Very excited for this league as well as some of the others that I've got going on. So plenty of content coming through this channel over the next few weeks. So very excited. This is a high tier Terra league. So had to draft 10 months, 10 months exactly, nothing shorter, nothing less. So I'm actually looking forward to this team. It's gonna sound, honestly, a lot of people would be surprised that's a bit upsetting, especially once we get through into the team and how horrible some of these matches might be over the season. But you know what? I'm excited to use this team. I've got quite a few mons that I've used before and a lot of mons that I haven't used before. So I'm excited to get into it. So let's not wait any longer. First mon that I picked up for our team was Balerian Slowking. This thing is just a really good mon. It's high points for a reason. Regen is really good. Poison Psychic, really nice typing. Only weak to a couple of types like Ghost, Dark, Ground. Gives us a poison type, a grounded poison type straight off the bat. Gets access to lots of supporting moves, also gets some strong attacking moves, also is able to heal itself with Slack Off, and Chilly Reception out. So, honestly, Glow King is just going to do what Glow King does. Most people know him for what he does, so he's here to do that. Excited to use Glow King. Next up, for the second round pick, I picked up Skeledirge. Not only is this my second round pick, this is our first Terra Captain. We had, I believe it was 26 points, 25 points to make Terra Captains. So Skeledirge was 15 points. I knew I wanted this thing as a Terra Captain immediately. I think this thing is stupid as a Terra Captain. I think that Skeledirge can be absolutely broken with Terra. So when I saw that this was on the board with Terra available, I thought I had to get myself this. We've decided to go with Fire, Fairy, and Water. Didn't have to have a stab typing, but I think Fire for just some extra stab. But yeah, Fairy and Water just help out with some defensive typings. Yeah, and I always like to have a good attacking Fire type. I think it can be a really important attacking type. In some points, this one's crazy with Unaware and Slacking Off, and being able to set up with Torch Song is crazy stupid. It's actually quite diverse in what it can do. It can run Hex sets, it can wall break, it can just be an unbreakable wall on an opposing end to wall breaker. So I'm really excited to use Skeledirge, especially as a Terra Captain. I think it's going to be really good. Wouldn't be surprised if this thing's going to come like every week, you know. This thing's crazy. So very excited to use Skeledirge as a Terra Captain. Oh, and it also gives us a Ghost type to block Rapid Spins. So that's pretty cool. Next up, I went and picked myself up Gliscor. You might be starting to see the direction of where this team is going. But Gliscor is an amazing Pokemon. This thing's gotten, even without having access to some pivotal moves like Roost in Gen 9, this thing's still being a monster. Toxic Heal is such a good ability for it. This thing can do so much. It can just be a stally Toxic Healer. It can be a Hazard Setter. It can just go full out on offensive sets. And Ground and Flying, it's really good. It gives us a ground immunity for those ground type moves that are strong into my Slowking and my Skeledirge. So yeah, really excited to use Gliscor, and I think that Ground and Flying are such a strong attacking combination, so excited to use Gliscor. Next up, a tried and true mon. I've drafted this thing quite a few times now. Goodra Hisuian. Hisuian Goodra. I love this thing. This thing's so good. It's so bulky, but it also dishes out so much damage, and it's so versatile in what it can do. Its move pool is so wide, and that's what I love about it. It has some really good different abilities as well. So Sapsipa and Gilly are all usable. So I really like Goodra Hisui. This is just a classic. If you've watched a few videos, you would have seen me using this thing. Don't expect anything different. I love Gudra, Hisuian Gudra, and I'm excited to use it again. And I love that steel dragon type combo. So it gives us a steel type, but it also gives us a dragon type that people have to be prepared for. So yeah, and that steel type hitting the fairies, the dragon moves just don't want to hit. So love me some Hisuian Gudra. Next up is Toxapex. Literally, we just drafted this thing in the NPBL, and funnily enough, I now have it in 2 leagues, and I don't think I've ever used it actually in a league before. So, uh, 2 leagues running at the same time, and I get to learn how to use this thing. Um, if you haven't picked up on it yet, this is a Gen 9 store team. I have drafted store. I can't believe I've said that, but I want to learn how to play everything. And you have to be able to, if you want to learn to beat everything, you have to also know how it plays. And I'm excited to try this out. I apologize to everybody for the season ahead. Um, Look, I'm not always going to stall with it, but I will play this team to its extent of how it's been built. But yeah, Toxic Water Poison. This thing is so bulky. Another regenerator, so it gives me a regenerator core with Glow King. Another poison type. This thing can just set up toxic spikes. Uh, just does a lot of annoying things. It wars out Pokemon and it chips on damage over time. So Toxapex is very excited to use it. Next up for the 6th pick, I went and picked up Wo-Chien, who was also our second Terra Captain. If you didn't know before Willow's Wisps was a thing, we were Willow's Wo-Chien. God, what a banger. And I've never actually had the chance to draft this because I can't see this thing being used without Terra. But now that High Terra is a thing, I knew that this was definitely something on my radar that I wanted to pick up and try out because it is Terra banned in pretty much every league that I have ever competed in that isn't High Terra. So glad I could finally get onto this. That grass and dark typing is just it's just not the best typing, especially being that quad weakness to bug. But the fact that we can now Terra out of our weaknesses is amazing. I have gone with Ghost, Poison, and Water as our Terra types. They're all pretty just defensive. No, haven't really gone with any offensive Terras because again, this is quite a stally team. But yeah, Ghost just gives us some extra immunities. It gives us another spin blocker. It's always nice to have more spin blockers on stall, especially when you're trying to set up your hazards and you're trying to keep them up on your side. Poison just gives us CISO resistances, because who's trying to click Psychic and Ground type moves into Wo-Chien to begin with, but becomes not very effective, so Poison is very nice. And Water just helps stop some of the Fire type moves that get aimed into Wo-Chien. This thing's really cool. Like love stuff like Leech Seed, Sunspore, Giga Drain, Ruination. This thing's just, yeah, it's just there to heal up over time. That's what it does. It's going to chip down the opponent and keep on healing itself up. So, very excited to try a Terra Wo-Chien as the 6th pick of the team. Next up for the 7th pick, I picked up Gardevoir. This thing doesn't feel like it fits onto stall, but at this point, Sylveon got sniped a few picks before me, and Florges had already been taken a few rounds before. And I also tried to get Alomomola before Toxapex, but Alomomola literally got sniped the pick before me. So I wanted a Fairy type. Captain can probably deal with dragons perfectly fine enough, but it's always nice to have a Fairy type. It's just such a strong typing. Hence why we've put it on Skellige as one of our terrors. But I wanted a Wish Passer. So Gardevoir was probably the best option left over, and I'm pretty sure this thing also gets Healing Wish. Like I'm 99% sure it gets Healing Wish. So that's something else that this thing can do for us. Alongside that, it could actually be a bit of a wall breaker for us, considering not a lot of our team, depending on how we invest in it, is actually going to be very offensive. So it'd be nice to be able to bring this thing some weeks and just either try and smash through some teams, or just use it to heal up our team over time and play a support role. So very excited to try out Gardevoir on this team comp. And the added psychic offensive is always nice. Slurking doesn't always want to use it, so having it on Gardevoir is nice. Next up, I went and picked up for the 8th pick Fortress. We needed our own hazard removal, and the fact that Fortress was still left behind for an 8th pick feels criminal to me. Yes, it has the quad weakness to fire, but I think it does everything else so well. It sets hazards, it removes hazards, it takes attacks, and it pivots around with Volt Switch. Um, Fortress is here to just do its thing, you know, the walnut. Um, very excited to use it. Just have to avoid those fire type moves aimed in its direction, but otherwise, this thing is going to be amazing for us. It's just going to remove hazards and set up itself and chip on damage over time. That's the aim of this team. So excited to use Fortress. For the ninth pick, I went and picked up our last Terra Captain in Chimecho. Who would have thought a Chimecho was going in the ninth round? Which was funny because I actually sniped this off of somebody else. So it was good. I went for this in the ninth round and not the 10th. Um, I don't want to review too much of this tech because I'm not sure how many people know what Chimecho does, but as a Terra Captain, this thing becomes scary if not prepped for correctly. I've gone with Terra, Electric Fairy, and Steel, with that Levitate ability becoming immune to having no weaknesses actually when it's an Electric type and Steel type, just losing that weakness to ground, and then also just Fairy, just giving it some stab on some extra moves like Draining Kiss, I believe it gets, also Dazzling Gleam. So I think Trimecho could potentially be a hidden demon amongst this team if people are not looking out specifically for it. Especially against some of those high tier terrors. You might think that Trimecho doesn't stand a chance, but if this thing has a good matchup, there's a good chance I'm bringing it. Uh, Not because it's a good mon, just because it sometimes has such amazing matchups that it could really just go crazy. And if we get it set up right, we get it set up right. So I'm really excited to try out Chimecho, and I guess you guys will see how I get to utilize it throughout the season. And lucky last for the 10th pick of our SDA draft, I picked up Mandibuzz, had plenty of points left over. I wanted another thing to take ground type attacks. I think Mandibuzz is really cool because it's one of the mons that kept toxic, and it heals itself up. It also gives us access to defog if we can't rapid spin with Fortress. It's also just quite strong. It hits hard with its foul plays, and some of its flying type stab is really nice. Also gets stuff like knockoff. So this thing could be really good at just getting rid of items and chipping on damage over time. Again, that's what the point of this team is. It's to put your opponent in an uncomfortable position and keep them there. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see if I can successfully pull that off this season. But yes, Mandibuzz is really cool. I am looking forward to using it. And that will be our team for the Soldier Association. I'm very excited to try this one out. It's a different playstyle from something that I would normally see, from something that I drafted. But I think I am excited to give this style a try. So make sure to like and subscribe to see this team in action over the next few weeks. So get around it, get excited. Thanks for watching.